Hey everyone, and welcome. So today we're going to dive into a tool that's totally changing the game for building smart connected devices. If you've ever been curious about the Internet of Things or IoT, but maybe got a little intimidated by all the code, well, you are in exactly the right place. Let's jump right in.
I mean, this quote just hits home, right? You get this amazing idea for a project, maybe something with sensors or smart lights, and then, boom, you're suddenly wrestling with this tangled mess of different programming languages, confusing APIs, and weird hardware issues. It just feels like you're fighting the tools instead of building your idea. But what if there was a much better way? And that tangled web, it's not just a nice phrase. It is a very real, very big problem in the world of IoT. It genuinely slows down innovation, and honestly, it keeps a lot of people out of the game. Think about it. In the past, if you wanted to do something as simple as making a sensor talk to a website or having a button on your phone turn on a real-life light, you had to write a ton of custom code. Every single device, every platform, it felt like they all spoke their own secret language with their own set of rules. It made everything super slow, really difficult, and just a headache to manage. Okay, so this is where things get interesting. This is where our hero enters the picture. Let's talk about Node-RED, because it's the elegant solution that was designed from the ground up to untangle that very web. So what is it exactly? Well, Node-RED is basically a visual programming tool. So instead of typing out lines and lines of code, you work in your web browser, and you just connect these pre-built blocks. They're called nodes. Each node does one specific thing, like, say, read a sensor, or send a tweet, or talk to an API. You literally just draw wires between them to create a sequence of actions, and that's called a flow. And the difference here is it's night and day. On one hand, you've got the old way. Tons of complex code, a really steep learning curve, and prototyping that takes forever. On the other hand, you have Node-RED, which just throws all that out the window. It gives you visual flows, a super intuitive interface, and the ability to experiment and change things on the fly. It's a total game changer.
Honestly, the best way to think about it is like digital Legos. Seriously, each node is a little block that does one thing perfectly. Maybe one block grabs data from Twitter, another one talks to your smart light bulb, and a third one sends you an email. Your job is just to figure out how you want to snap them together. And just like Legos, you can build something brand new and totally functional.
And you won't believe how easy it is to get started. I'm talking, you can build your first simple flow in like 10 seconds. No joke. You drag an input node, let's say it's just a button, onto the screen. Then you drag a debug node, which is just a little window to show you what's happening. You connect them with a wire, click one button that says deploy, and that's it. You've just created a working program.
Okay, so that's the basic idea, but what's really cool is how this super simple concept can be used to build some seriously powerful stuff. So let's check out a real-world example, building a full-on web dashboard to monitor sensors and control devices, all in just a few minutes.
All right, first up, let's say we want to see the data coming in. So imagine you've got a little weather sensor. You can literally just drag a gauge node onto your screen for a live temperature reading. Then maybe grab a chart node to see how the humidity changes over time. And maybe a simple text node to show a status message like, everything's A-okay. You just connect them to your data source and bam, it's working. But look, it's not just a one-way street of getting data. It's about doing things too. You can add a switch to your dashboard to physically turn an LED on and off. Or how about a slider to control the angle of a little servo motor? You could even drop in a color picker to change the color of an entire LED strip in real time. And this is the real magic right here. Think about what just happened. You've built a fully functional user interface for your project, and you haven't written a single line of front-end code. Nothing. No HTML, no CSS, no complex JavaScript. You just dragged some blocks, dropped them, and connected them with wires. Okay, so this all looks really slick on the surface. But how does it actually work, right? How does a click in your web browser reach out and control a real physical thing? Let's pop the hood and see what's going on.
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? And the secret sauce here is a protocol called MQTT. Now, that's a mouthful, but all you need to know is that it's a super lightweight and efficient messaging system that's pretty much perfect for IoT. The best way to think of it is like a post office for data, using a simple publish and subscribe system. So here's what happens. When you flip that switch on your dashboard for the LED, that switch node creates a tiny message. It could literally just be the word on. It hands that message off to another node, an MQTT out node, which then publishes it, sends it out to a specific address in the cloud, which we call a topic.
And getting data back works the exact same way, just in reverse. Your actual physical temperature sensor is out there publishing its readings to a different topic, say sensor temp. Back in your Node-RED flow, you have an MQTT in node that is subscribed to that exact topic. It's just listening. And the moment a new temperature reading comes in, it grabs it and passes it right over to that gauge node on your dashboard, which updates instantly.
And that's the payoff. As the quote says, you can see the temperature, you can see the humidity. Suddenly, all those charts and gauges are alive and functional. You're seeing real data from your sensors in real time. And when you flip a switch, something happens in the real world. The loop is complete. So look, it's pretty clear Node-RED is an awesome tool for hobbyists and makers, but its impact goes so much further than that. This is all part of a much, much bigger trend in the tech world, the low-code revolution.
What we're seeing is that tools like this are completely changing the game. They're changing who can build things and how fast they can do it. As you can see, a huge part of this is democratizing innovation, just making technology more accessible to everyone. It also helps speed up prototyping like crazy and enables companies to transform how they work. I mean, something that might have taken a developer a full week to code can now be roughed out and tested in a single afternoon.
And to me, this is the most exciting part of the whole thing. It's not just for the professional, seasoned developers anymore. Now, a researcher in a lab, a student in a classroom, even a hobbyist tinkering in their garage, they can all build and deploy really sophisticated connected systems, the kind of stuff that just a few years ago would have required a whole team of specialized engineers. So what are the big takeaways here for you? Well, first, a tool like Node-RED gives you the freedom to just try things. You can experiment and test your ideas at lightning speed. It's going to boost your productivity, for sure. And because it's so visual, it makes it way easier for people with different skills, say a designer and an engineer, to collaborate. And of course, it keeps you right at the cutting edge of what's possible.
At the end of the day, by lowering that barrier to entry, Node-RED goes more than just make things easier. It's really an invitation for all of us to explore, to be more creative, to dream a little bigger, and to really ask ourselves, with tools this powerful and this easy to get started with, what will you create next?